Hey everybody, welcome to our live stream. We're going to be showing the fireworks here in a few minutes, and it's supposed to be starting at 6:07. So to all those coming back, welcome back. We got to watch the president's speech earlier today. That was great, and he gave great tribute to our men and women in the armed forces, all five branches, and each of the branches of the military got to show up their some of their hardware and their flyovers there. That was pretty cool. And it was just a great speech. It was very patriotic. The crowd really liked it. It was pouring rain, and the place was still packed. It was packed all the way from the Lincoln Memorial all the way along the little man-made little lake, pond, whatever you want to call it, all the way to the Washington Monument. So that was actually pretty cool. I kind of like that. And let's see here we got here. So as soon as the fireworks start, we'll just be shifting right over there. Hey, no quarter, how you doing there? Happy Fourth. How you doing? Speech was amazing. I totally agree with you on that one. The speech was amazing. And again, as soon as the fireworks start, we'll get going. But yeah, that was an amazing speech. I went ahead and streamed it live from here, and it was really really cool. Went on the White House's website, YouTube channel rather, and it was really great. Like I said, it was pouring rain. The place was still packed. Mainstream media was doing everything humanly possible to put a real negative spin on it to make people feel bad about even going out there. Talking about how militaristic it was, and I showed Bastille Day from last year, July 14th, 2018, and Trump had two tanks and two fighting armored vehicles. The French had like 40 armored vehicles, probably 12 tanks. They had flyovers out the kazoo, helicopters, Air Force, whole 10 yards. Everybody, and they do that every single year. And so they're saying it was how dictatorial it was for Trump to be doing this, and it was like Mao or like Kim or like the old Soviet Union. Hey, Ant Man, how you doing? You're kind of busy guy. No test, no rest for the wicked. Yes, that is true. I've been saying that since I was a little kid, actually. uh, where are these fireworks? I really need to empty my bowels. Oh, well, then go to the bathroom. What do you want me to tell you, man? Go to the bathroom and then come back. But no, they're supposed to start at like 6:07 Pacific time, 9:07 East Coast time. So it'll be a few minutes, so you have a chance to go empty your bowels. There you go. But yeah, I thought it was a great speech. And again, the French do this every single year, and they put on a huge display, and nobody seems to call them militaristic or dangerous or anything like that. And honoring the men and women, in uniform, and we give these big parades for Super Bowl winners and stuff, and we pat them on the back, and people come out and give them a lot of attention and everything, and why not give these guys some attention? Let them show off what they do every day, and I guess, the Democrats just want to say, oh, we don't want to see or hear from you. We just want you to send you into war and get killed. But other than that, we don't want to know anything about you. Because, I guess that gets them over their guilt about sending young men and women into war when they themselves would never go, also. So, you have President Trump here trying to keep these guys out of harm's way and doing everything he can to do that. Love how he gave a tribute. Yeah, I know. I no quarter. I totally agree. Love how he gave a shout out. Accidentally hit a Mexican so they don't cross the border. Hey, well, there you go. And well, thanks for playing and have a nice day. I had a feeling about that guy, and I just figured, he was going to be saying something stupid in the near future, and I guess I was right. Oh no shit, your dad was a SEAL in Vietnam. No kidding. Good deal, man. Good deal. Yeah, yeah, I'm sure he saw a lot of action. They put the SEALs in some real dangerous places there, and well, they put them in real dangerous places everywhere. That's their job. They send them all to the dangerous locations and everything. But yeah, this should be a great fireworks display. It's like $750,000 worth of fireworks, all donated by I think these two firework companies. I think they said Phantom Fireworks and some other outfit, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, this should be pretty cool. But it should be starting here just in a couple of minutes. So this should be pretty good. Oh man, yeah, there's one in every bunch. But yeah, no quarter. Good seeing you. Good seeing you down here. Good seeing you, Mr. Ant Man G. Ant Man G. But yeah, best buddy. Every time I need you to go out and do help me out with something, it's like, oh yeah, I'll be there. Like, what's up, man? What's up? Yeah, well, I was going to do a event if the chamber, now that the Chamber of Commerce nor the town of Pahrump were interested in doing any work. Somebody in the chamber, the woman who does the event, says, "Well, we're probably going to do anything because it's really hot and it's a lot of work." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's really hot. We live in a desert. Like, where are you from?" It's like, "Yeah, it's hot like 9 months of the year here. So like, we're not going to do events for 9 months of the year." Those are the Chamber of Commerce. Yeah, the woman who does the events over there. I don't know what her name is, but yeah, she seems like a real go-getter. Just the kind of person we need at the chamber. To bring new business in here. We got all these new people where I live in Pahrump. All these new people moved up here, and I'm sure they were looking for a nice day event to go to, take their children to. And then we told them, no, we're not doing anything because it's hot and it's too much work. And so, they went right. They took their money and went down to Vegas and spent it down there. And only, gee, good idea. Let's do that. I'm happy here burning watching neighbors fireworks on my back porch. Yeah, yeah. We got fireworks going off here in like 3 hours. Because we're on the West Coast, so it's only 6 o'clock our time right now. But the fireworks should be starting soon, so we shall see. And it should be starting at right about now. But I'm looking at the screen right now. I'm watching it. I'm watching the live coverage. So hasn't popped up yet, but it's in the internet, so everybody has a little delay feed, a few minutes, so they're probably just about a minute back. Hey Effie, happy Independence Day, my cat's least favorite holiday next to New Year's. Yeah, all the noise and the fireworks. Yeah, they generally don't like the explosions going off. And plus, throwing a cat across the room doesn't endear you, doesn't make him any less, it doesn't make him feel any more secure. I can't wait for Trump to put liberals in migration and send them to Mexico. Well, yeah, I see. Got a lot of. There we go. Hey everybody, looks like the fireworks coming to an end there, and let's see, I'll just put myself on here real quick. Just keep an eye out, see if anything else pops up. I don't see nothing. I see people leaving, and okay, we'll just jump over here. Boom, there we are. Up, there's me on top of myself. Hey, what am I doing? But yeah, it looked really cool. It looked a great fireworks display, and really happy to be able to see that. So that was really nice. Yeah, they did a President Trump did a great job all the way around today. And you see, I got a headline: CNN cuts to commercial during Trump's July 4th speech. Yeah, I'm sure there was something more they had to talk about. I'm not quite sure what that would be, but I'm sure there was something interesting they had to talk about. But that's CNN for you, and MSNBC didn't even cover it, so uh, you know, it's pretty crazy. So let me get back over here. There we go. But yeah, but it was. I'm glad we covered it here, and I'm glad we got to listen to the whole speech because the speech was very apolitical. It was not political at all. It was very patriotic, I thought. If anybody wants to call in and share their thoughts on it, area code 775-273-8970. If I don't know you, then you get the zombie. If you don't know what that is, you will. But now if I know you, but you haven't called before, then you still get the zombie, but don't get upset until I figure out who you are. That kind of thing. But, you know, hey, we had a few trolls here. I'm not sure if it was the same guy or not. Might have been. But yeah, just I like that. It's funny. Like, I think YouTube does this on purpose because, like, they make the moderators in blue instead of red, right? So instead of saying the big red wall, I have to say, oh, the big blue wall, and that means like the liberals. It's like, no, I don't mean that. I mean like it just there's a whole bunch of blue wrenches down there. You know, zombie. Exactly. I mean, right, yeah, good for Americans. Thanks always. Oh, hey, thanks, crazy chick Sheena. On behalf of myself and everybody else, I'm sure everybody else will say thank you too. But thank you, crazy chick Sheena. It's very kind of you to say those words. Very nice. But yeah, a lot of stories I was covering earlier. We didn't get a lot of time to talk about them because went right into the Trump White House feed showing the president leaving for the event, and then heading down Pennsylvania Avenue, then heading over to the mall. And and again, his speech was just great, and I agree with. I think it was I can't remember who said it. I think it was No Quarter. Um, I think it was him. Call it the wrench wall. Yes, Karen. That's. I think. Thank you. Yes, I'll call it the wrench wall. The wall of wrenches. There we go. But yeah. I like. Thank you. I was looking for a better word than the blue wall. I really didn't want to say the blue wall. Anything but that. But yeah, I think No Quarter was saying earlier is like he saluted all five branches of the armed services, and including the Coast Guard. And the Coast Guard is one of those branches that it's like you feel like they don't get as much respect as everybody else, but they're actually active duty like all the time, every time. I mean, they're always they're always doing something. They're always active. I mean, whether it's rescuing people, in natural disasters or even non-natural disasters, it's like some ship, fishing boat or something, or somebody gets stranded somewhere on the high seas, in the oceans, or interdicting drug traffickers, on the high seas. I mean, that's quite a bit of work they do, and I'm glad he mentioned them first too. That was nice. I like how he mentioned them first, and he put a lot of time into mentioning them. And it's funny, like he called the boats revenue cutters, and I didn't look it up, but I was always wondering how they got the word cutter, like a Coast Guard cutter. And my guess is maybe they were like revenue cutters, like people trying to avoid paying the duties, paying taxes, tariffs, coming, bringing goods into the United States. That was our main source of revenue was import duties, tariffs. Back when we first started, we didn't, we obviously we didn't have an income tax or anything like that, so we would charge people to sell their goods here. So I mean that's how pretty much we started. That's where every country did that to a certain extent. And so it's funny. I didn't look it up. I didn't have time to look it up on Google if that's how they got their name. Revenue cutters. They were trying to stop people from cutting off our revenue by avoiding by smuggling in their shipments instead of going to port and having to pay the tax collector at the dock. So I'd be kind of curious to look that up to see if yeah, oh yeah, in Florida, I'm sure like they're always busy. Yeah, Massachusetts. Like the one movie I saw just came out maybe well, probably longer, maybe a year or two ago, and it was about a kid on the boat. It was based on a true story about this kid who took this one boat out to rescue this ship that had been like split in half, literally. And I want to say he was out of Maine or somewhere up there, Massachusetts, Maine, or something like that. I'm not sure, but well, maybe not Maine. I don't think Maine is. Well, does Maine touch the ocean? I don't know. I don't know. I'm forgetting, but it was on the east coast of the Northeast, and it was a pretty cool movie. Yeah, no, wherever there's water, you'll find the Coast Guard. Yeah, Karen. Yeah, wherever there's water, they're out there busy. They save lives all the time, and they don't get as much credit as everybody else does. But yeah, they save a lot of lives. And the movie that came out with who was it? Kevin Costner. He did a movie. It really showed the Coast Guard. They had a lot of real active Coast Guard people in that movie. Uh, which was pretty cool because these guys were, able to actually, be in a movie and stuff and, talk about the Coast Guard. And they talked about how, like, for Katrina, that, they trained so consistently and uniformly that even though he had never worked a helicopter rescue mission with any of the guys on his helicopter that wasn't his crew, they all knew their roles and their responsibilities. So it seems like yes, they are famous for lobster. Oh yeah, that's right. Of course, of course. I don't know why I'm thinking like they're land. Oh, maybe I'm thinking like Vermont or something, like Sticks and Hammer, where Sticks and Hammer is from, Vermont. Like, wait a second, Maine's on the water, isn't it? But yeah, there was a great day of events. It was looked like it was well put together, and I was watching this early MSNBC, and they were talking about, well, gee, the crowd's not big enough. You already hear people in the administration pointing fingers and stuff. And they were just hoping beyond all hope that nobody would show up. They were gonna negative it so much and talk about how terrible it was and what a bad idea it was that everybody was saying, oh yeah, I don't want to go there. I don't want to feel guilty. I don't want people to see me there. They're hoping nobody would show, and then President Trump would be standing in front of like group of nobody. There would be nobody there. He'd just be talking, and people would be laughing at him and stuff. They always want him to fall on his flat on his face, and it's really sad because he's the damn president, and if he falls flat on his face, and so do the rest of us. I mean, if he's doing good, it's like when I do a case. In fact, I just said this yesterday in court. In fact, I always tell my clients, if I'm having fun in court, mainly, especially criminal defense. If I'm having fun in court, you're in good shape. If I'm having fun, there's a lot I can play with and do and exploit in this report versus this report. And if I'm having a fun time, you're in good shape. If I'm not having a fun time, you're in bad shape. So if the president's having fun doing what he's doing, like, there's a lot of success. He's working with Kim over there in North Korea. He's dealing with the Chinese. He's working with the EU. He's doing this with Mexico and Canada, and he's got all these different things going on at once. I mean, the guy's like got like 10 things going on at any given time at the same time, and he's handling it all at the same time. I've never seen a president work this hard ever. I've never seen one put this much time in, where he's just constantly doing stuff, and the mainstream media can't keep up with him, and they get mad because he's had a lot of success, and they don't like that. That's not the narrative they want. He wasn't supposed to be successful. Remember, they're all predicting, Krugman with his Nobel Prize. He predicted the economy go right into collapse if he got elected. I mean, this guy's got a Nobel Prize, and here he is. I mean, what data was he looking at? Did he look at any data, or was he just pissed off the guy got elected? And he's supposed to be a Nobel Prize winning economist. And he's just sitting there saying something stupid without any backup as support or data or anything. And that other idiot that Obama hired, I always forget his name, his economic advisor. And when Trump was saying, "Oh, we're going to get over 3% growth," I think it was the second quarter of last year, and he goes, "Well, there's no data to support that." Well, obviously there was data to support that because it happened. So there must have been data out there. He just wasn't looking at it and ignoring it. So they just say a bunch of negative stuff all the time, and then when they get proven wrong, they just forget they ever said the negative stuff. So they go on to the next negative story. like the numbers come out on the economy and they say, oh, they've been saying, oh, the economy sucks. So everybody hears that all the time, right? Economy sucks and nothing's working right. And then people hear, they go, wow, the economy sucks. And then the good numbers come out and then of course they don't cover that story at all. Oh, we don't cover that. And then they just go on to the next negative story and they talk about the shit. They've been doing this for like 2.5 years now. And then they'll talk about the shit about something else and then that'll turn out to be nothing. And then they just cover that up when it turns out to be just the opposite. And then the next thing you know, but everybody keeps hearing all this negative shit, and then they never hear a resolution. They never hear the good ending, so they just think it's just all negative all the time, and everything is bad. And people get brainwashed into this because that's all they hear. They hear it all the time. I mean, there's no, they never report anything good that he's done. I mean, like the historic meeting, going to see Kim crossing the line, willing to prostrate himself in front of Kim to say, hey, this is how bad I want peace. Look how much I want. I'm going to go to your country first before you even come to my country. I'm going to go to your turf, and I'm going to risk it. I'm going to put it out there without even knowing you're going to say yes. I'm going to say I want to meet with you over the DMZ. And Kim could have wrote back, I'm not meeting with you. You're an idiot, And then Trump would have had egg on his face, but everybody would have made fun of him and said, see, he's not a diplomat, doesn't understand anything. And he risked that. He risked his own political, stature to bring peace to the peninsula. I mean, how many presidents have we seen do that? Where they're willing to stick their neck out to get it chopped off, which could have very easily gone that way. Okay, could have very easily gone that way. Or he could have showed up down there. Kim said, "Yeah, I'll be there," and then all of a sudden he doesn't show. Or like he drives up, and then Trump. Oh, they said, "Yeah, okay, he's out there," and then Trump walks up to the DMZ, and then Kim just walks away and never even says hi to him. And then Trump's standing there by himself, having to walk back like when you're a kid, at the school dance, having to walk across the room, to ask the girl to dance, and then if she said no, it was like the longest walk back to your friends in the world because they all just saw what happened. You went all the way over there to ask her to dance, and then she said no, and then you have to walk all the way back like the walk of shame. Well, Kim could have very easily have done that. He could have walked right up to the DMZ. Kim could have pretended like he was going, like they said, oh yeah, his car's pulling up, he's there, he's in the car, and then he just doesn't show, and then Trump's standing there like and he has to walk back to all those reporters who would have pounced on him. Well, I guess you don't really know anything about foreign policy, do you, Mr. President? He was willing to risk that for us. I want you to think about that. When's the last time you saw a president of the United States do that? Never. I've never seen it in my lifetime. Never. Okay? So this guy is just amazing what he's doing, and he's a rich guy, and he wants to help people who aren't as rich as he is. Maybe that's all there is to it. Maybe he's worked in the hotel industry and the building industry, the trade industry. He's seen the construction workers show up early, with the lunch boxes. I was one of those guys, the hard hat, all dirty and stuff. See him, work. You saw him working their asses off when he toured the buildings while they were under construction. Maybe he's seen the people who work in the hotels, busting their ass all day long, that kind of stuff. The people who work in other service industries, maybe he's seen some of those factories, looked to buy some, and seen some of these towns where they're just decimated because the factory shuts down and jobs move to Mexico. He's seen that, and he's like, that's fucked up. And no, I'm going to do something about that. I'm going to help these people, and whether they appreciate him or not. Now he likes being appreciated. That's his personality, which is fine, fine with me. I mean, he jokes about it more than anything. In fact, he was joking with Sarah Sanders before she left. Is like, when they were all cheering her, he goes, "You're very popular." It's like, yeah, that's not good being that popular around me because even he said something to Jared one time after that prison reform deal when the woman that got out was saying, "Oh, Jared's such a great guy." He goes, "Oh, she knows you by your first name." And he's kind of looking at him like, yeah, I ought to get rid of you because I don't want anybody in here to be more famous than me. I don't want anybody to get more attention than me. And you know what? So what? Okay. you know, that's fine. He can be like that. But he's getting the shit done. You know, he's getting it done. He moved, like even moving the embassy to from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. Something every president promised. Oh yeah, we're going to do that. They promise it. You know, when they're running for office. You know, they'll go in front of a Jewish group and say, "Oh yeah, we're going to move the embassy," and they go in front of a Christian group because they want to move too. And they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna, oh yeah, we're with you." And then they get in office. Well, not the right time. We're in the middle of doing something right now. Wouldn't it be the right time? And Trump gets in there and says, "Look, I'm going to do it." And everybody says, "Well, we've heard that before." And he gets in there. What's he do? He does it. Bam! It's like, he sends Jared and his daughter over there to do the opening on it. It's like. He just did it. Then he's bragging about like how much money they saved by buying this building and not using this tile versus that tile. You're getting all the builder kind of stuff. You can tell he's just like a little kid. He's like, yeah, I saved this much money, but then I used this kind of rock, and they have this rock over there. It's like the best rock in the world. You use it for tile, and I use that. And I said, yeah, let's do that. And he says, well, he's just talking about it. You can tell he's really just having a good time about the whole thing. And Israel was like, the people in Israel are just ecstatic. Then he's over there, and everybody says, "Oh, you can't talk to this crown prince of Saudi Arabia. He killed that guy or whatever, and all this shit." But hey, there's a lot of peace in the Middle East because he's over there talking to these guys. I mean, there's a lot of you got Israel and Saudi Arabia and some of the Gulf states working together, and there's actually an opening there, and that's all because of all the backroom deals and stuff, and Jared Kushner over there talking to everybody. Here's Jared Kushner, an Orthodox Jew, hanging out with the Crown Prince and being buddy buddy with him. Crown Prince is like, I want to kill you, and he goes, yeah, I know, I want to kill you too. He goes, hey, what do you got to eat? And they just get along. Fantastic. I mean, it's that kind of diplomacy. And they call it, oh, this diplomacy isn't the right way to do. You have to go through the State Department and arrange this and set this agenda and set all this shit. He goes, yeah, how's that worked out? How has that worked out for everybody when we do it that way? Especially the State Department. The State Department just tried to screw him on this North Korea thing too, because the State Department and then going into the UN did this little deal, put this little statement out, through the UN, right when Trump was getting ready to meet with Kim over there, and then the North Koreans were like, "What the shit," And then I'm sure someone over the State Department stabbed Trump in the back on that deal. Yeah, that has that written all over. And I talked about that with I talked about that last night with the Gary Powers thing when Eisenhower was getting ready to meet with Khrushchev regarding arms control and limiting troops and limiting, nuclear weapons. And suddenly Gary Powers in a U-2 spy plane. And see, who gave me the name of the U-2? I think it was, I can't remember who said, it's U-2, the U-2 spy plane. And then next thing you know, Gary Powers' U-2 spy plane gets shot down. Like the Air Force couldn't wait until after the meeting with Eisenhower and Khrushchev was done before they did that next little spy mission. They couldn't wait, right? They had to do it then, and then of course Khrushchev, blew a gasket, and Eisenhower had nothing to say, and Eisenhower was pissed because he was like, he said just what I just said now, except he said it back then in 1958, 59, I think it was. They're like, what the hell was that? You couldn't wait? I'm getting ready to meet with this guy to talk about arms control, and here you are sending spy planes into his country. Whether they got shot down or not didn't matter. The fact they got shot down just made it worse, but the fact that they were still tracking our planes. So, that kind of thing. But let's just take a look. Let's take a look to see what CNN was doing today. Let's take a look at the story real quick here. All right, this is from the Washington Examiner. CNN, okay, by Sean Higgins. Okay. CNN cut to a commercial about a half hour into President Trump's 4th of July speech Thursday. The event having evidently not proven important enough to remain tuned in despite several days of controversy leading up to it. Right. I mean, if anything, it's like, well, see, what happened was they were waiting for him to say something really like political and stupid, right? So they say, oh, see what he said? Well, then after the first about half an hour, about a few minutes into it or a half hour into it, they realized, oh, he's not going to say anything stupid. So we can't bag on him. He's just saying some really nice things, and we don't want to give him any credit for anything, so we'll just cut away. So anyway, the cable network cut away as Trump was giving a salute to the U.S. Air Force. Jesus. Part of the event's tribute to the 5 branches of the U.S. military in a B-2 flyover. The cable channel had devoted the hours leading up to the event to covering the controversy. Well, yeah, that's important, surrounding it. Right. When leaked excerpts of Trump's speech revealed nothing that was controversial, the network's pundits suggested that Trump might still stray from the speech, like, oh, he may still stray. Wait, we better cover it to see if he says something really bad. So they spend all this time talking about how controversial, which it turned out to be no controversy. It was a great speech. It was a great event. There's nothing controversial about it, And then they say, well, he may still stray, so let's pay attention. He may say something stupid. And then, like, this whole bullshit, military chiefs have concerns about the politicization of President Donald Trump's July 4th event. A source with direct knowledge told CNN. Yeah, bullshit. If the president turns what is meant into a celebration into an overtly political event, he could put military personnel in the position of violating Defense Department guidelines. Oh, no, they get fired. By who? Idiots. And women in uniform from engaging in political activity. The network reported earlier in the day. Trump's speech turned out to be roughly 50-minute salute to the soldiers, sailors, pilots, and Marines who defend the country. Yes, and because what Trump said, today we come together as one nation with this very special salute to America. We celebrate our history, our people, and the heroes who proudly defend our flag. The brave men and women of the United States military, he said. Among CNN's cable news competitors, Fox News carried the Salute to America event live, while MSNBC aired the first Democratic presidential primary debate. So they had a repeat of the Democratic primary debate. You believe that? Instead of airing this. I mean, why not air it? Because, it's going to show the president being presidential. It's going to show the president with a whole group of people out there cheering him and yelling, USA, USA, USA. Yeah, they can't show that. No, they just have to show. No, but if he does something silly, if he acts like if he makes a mistake, if he trips on something, they'll be all over that. If he mixes up a word or misspells something, he's like, they'll be all over that. Oh, look at this. He doesn't know anything. I mean, you believe that shit? I mean, that's just crap. Jesus. But let's see here. Where was the? Oh, there we go. Trump supporters clash on mall before salute to America. And here's a picture of some people. There's a guy in a Trump shirt with a couple of Trump flags. There's some guys with a camera. I don't know, with a backpack. I will never wear a backpack. Just let everybody know. The only time I wear a backpack is when I go hiking and or hunting. That's it. But I'm not going to walk around with a backpack ever. So you'll never see me wearing a backpack. Ain't going to happen. Let's see. A few hundred protesters. Oh, wait, hold on. What crazy. My granddad was Tuskegee Airman, jet repairman. No shit. Wow. Way to go. Damn, that's pretty cool. A few hundred, excuse me, sorry about that. This is from the Washington Times. A few hundred protesters faced off with supporters of President Trump amid rain showers Thursday on the National Mall before the commander-in-chief was scheduled to deliver his Salute to America address on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. And yeah, even though it was raining like hell, the place was still packed and a whole bunch of people showed up. Go figure. Protesters stood behind the World War II memorial next to a giant sculpture of Mr. Trump sitting on a golden toilet with his phone in his hand. Idiot. Calling for Mr. Trump's impeachment. They held signs reading, "Deport Trump and lock him up," and chanted, "No hate, no fear. Immigrants are welcome here." Huh. Good for you. Take one into your house. Move a whole family in while you're at it. Yeah, not just one. No. Move the whole family in. Yeah, and support them. Take care of them. Trump supporters stood across the sidewalk from the protest and shouted, "Libtards," while chanting, "USA, USA, libtards." Who's the YouTuber who uses libtards? I mean, it's not Mark. Who uses libtards? I can't remember. I hear it all the time, so my mind's going blank. Despite the rain, the area around the Lincoln Memorial and the National Mall was filled for Mr. Trump's Independence Day speech. Yay. That's pretty cool. Let's see. This was from earlier. Some people showed up to heckle Joe Biden at a non-political event, at a 4th of July event. Yeah, I like that. They said, Trump's politicizing the 4th of July. Every Democratic candidate for president was out at somebody's city, not at their own campaign event, mind you, bum rushing their 4th of July parade and walking down the parade with their own signs, like people walking out with Biden for president signs and shit like that. So I guess they were politicizing the 4th of July because they were in the cities, government-run parades on the 4th of July. Like this one was Independence, Iowa. And, of course, Biden was pretending to run and stuff. But some people asked him where his walker was. That's pretty. Oh, here's a story I covered earlier. I'm not sure all of you saw it. This one was pretty cool. I guess Joe Biden was against refugees from Vietnam. He was against asylum seekers back in 1975. He was like, there was only three senators who voted against it coming out of committee. He was one of them. He said they had no obligation, moral or otherwise, to bring any of the South Vietnamese. And now those are real asylum seekers. I mean, when you're applying for asylum, that's a real asylum claim. Like, when the North came down, anybody that had cooperated with the United States, against the North, they're going to get rounded up, probably killed, tortured, whatever, put into a labor camp. So these were real. That's what a real asylum claim looks like. Okay, 1975, South Vietnam. The North is coming down, and they're going to take over. And anybody who's on the side of the United States is going to get killed. Okay, or locked up for life, or whatever. Okay, that's what asylum looks like. Okay, that's what a real asylum claim is. Okay, now if you're living in El Salvador and you work at a pizza place and you have a wife and a kid, and we know lots of people who work at service industry jobs, like, or work at McDonald's or fast food or a waitress or a bartender, and have a wife or a husband and a kid or two, and they don't get to live high on the hog. They don't get to spend a lot of money on things, and their life isn't so good. It really isn't. They're probably on some form of assistance, possibly. If they're not having a great time, but that doesn't mean you get to, like, go to Canada, walk up to Canadian Mountie and say, "Hey, I need asylum because I work at a pizza place in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I'm married and have a kid, and it just ain't working out that good for me, and I want to live in Canada. It seems like I could, be a little better off." The guy said, "Well, you're being persecuted?" "Well, no. In fact, I left my mom behind, so it can't be too bad." "Oh, well, no, they get the hell out of here." That's what they tell him. Okay, that's not asylum. Well, the guy across the river with his daughter, they interviewed his mom, who's still back in El Salvador. He says, "Nah, nobody was chasing after him. It wasn't like the Ben Affleck scene from that movie when they were pulling out the hostages from Iran, and the plane's taking off from the airport, and the trucks and the cars are trying to get in front of the plane to keep it from taking off. It wasn't like that. This guy just wanted to go to America. Okay, I get it. But that's not an asylum claim. So he knows when he gets here, he's going to try to lie to us. He's going to lie to us. He's going to tell a lie. And he got impatient about waiting in line to get through because it takes a long time to process these people, and we don't have enough staff to process 100,000 asylum claims a month. Sorry, nobody built that system. And when we asked for more money, so we could, Democrats said, "Oh, we don't give you any more money," hoping they would derail the system and we just let everybody go, and nobody could ever get processed. That was the whole point of not giving the money over for 2 months. And it wasn't until 70% of the Democrats, 70% of Democratic voters said there's a crisis, and suddenly Pelosi's like, "Oh, we better do something." Yeah. So, there you go. But hey, anybody wants to call in? Phone number is 775-273-8970. I'll make sure the phone is on. The phone is on. There you go. So if anybody wants to appear by a vMix video call, then send an email to cha2jogger@gmail.com, and you can appear by vMix video call. In fact, let's take a look here, see what else we're going to cover here. Well, let's get me off here first. Boom. Boom. All right, let me find what I want to look at real quick here. That's me looking for one of my stories. Let's see. Let's see. Where is it? Here's an interesting story. Remember this guy? Idiot. We'll get to him in a second here. Okay, hold on. Boom. All right. Michigan Representative Justin Amash leaves the GOP. To it, everybody in the GOP said, "What took you so long to get the hell out of here? You're not a Republican, okay?" The guy's a clown. He wants to run for president someday, and he's like, "Oh, I'm independent. I read the Mueller report." Well, I read it too. Okay, and it was some of the things he did in there was terrible. No, it wasn't. So I don't know what report he was reading, but this guy's just trying to make a name for himself. That's all. So let's see. Let's check out this story. All right. Let's see. Michigan Representative Justin Amash, this is the guy who signed on to impeach President Trump. Okay, real genius, this guy. Announced his exit from the Republican Party in an op-ed he published Thursday in the Washington Post. Excuse me, let me just grab some water real quick. All right. So anyway, in the piece titled "Our Politics is in a partisan death spiral. That's why I'm leaving the GOP." Amash, 39, says his mother and father, both immigrants to America, raised him as a Republican, but he quotes George Washington's farewell address. I mean, what kind of an ego do you have to have? You have to start quoting George Washington. Like you're comparing yourself to George Washington. George and I, we felt the same way. I'm like George Washington. And Jesus, man, get your ego out of your ass. But he quotes George Washington's farewell address in which he warned of the dangers of political parties. Today I'm declaring my independence and leaving the Republican Party. No matter your circumstance, I'm asking you to join me in rejecting the partisan loyalties and rhetoric that divide and dehumanize us. I'm asking you to believe that we can do it better than this two-party system and to work toward it. Anyway, he offered a bunch of stupid shit. Anyway, I didn't feel like reading that. I read it earlier. Trust me, he didn't say anything intelligent. If you want to look it up, Washington Examiner. You can read it. He's got just I mean, it's just full of platitudes about himself and how honorable he is. And I've always said, if you have to virtue signal, it means you don't have any virtue. Okay, you could just say, I'm leaving. I'm not happy here. I'm gone. Bye. And then he's like, he's got to be some big speech. His fireworks are so bad. Oh, you got a lot of people at charity. You got a lot of people shooting up fireworks. Yeah, the dog. Yeah, my German Shepherd. I'm trying to remember. He wasn't a big fan of the fireworks either. You know. Yeah, I agree. Crazy, Jake. Yeah, definitely. He was like undercover Democrat. He's one of those guys just waiting in the wings for his moment to strike. You know, and you could tell he was leaning that way, and he found a reason to do it. Yeah. Again, I read the Mueller report. I mean, Mueller, who wanted to prosecute this president more than anybody, wanted to say he was guilty of something. Because he could say, look, I'm not going to prosecute him. I can't indict him, but, he's guilty. He could have said that. I mean, he said he couldn't say he was innocent. So what the shit? So even Mueller and his team of people who really hated Trump couldn't say it, and that's why they're bringing him back. They're bringing Mueller back on to testify, Gerald Nadler, because he's like, well, why are you bringing him back if he says he's only going to say what's in his report? He goes, well, the American people probably haven't read the report, so they need to see his face and hear his voice and hear him say it out loud. Basically, yeah, just so the American people can just hear him say the same thing he's already written in his report. It doesn't matter, he already wrote it, but he just wants the American people to hear it over and over again, because if he says it, he knows nobody can listen to him. So basically, the guy's just going to say what he said in his report. But the Republicans have a lot of leeway to ask him questions, though. They have a lot more leeway than the Democrats do, because his report is his report. But they can ask him, well, how come you didn't look at Hillary Clinton? How come you didn't look? I mean, we know there for sure they were paying a foreign actor to interfere in our election. We know that for sure. I mean, that everybody's admitted that. Everybody says it's true. It's just nobody wants to prosecute. We know that for sure. We know about foreign interference in the election. How? Because one, even if you don't go all the way to the Russians, you just start with Christopher Steele. Well, Christopher Steele's a foreigner. He's a foreigner. He's one of them English dudes. Okay, you could just stop there. You don't have to say, well, then he took the money from the Clintons and gave it to the Russians to pay them off to get a story or two. And you don't have to even go that far. But I mean, you obviously could, but you could just stop right with him. He's a foreigner. He's a foreign citizen, and he's interfering in the election, and you're benefiting from it. You're paying him. You're assigning value to it. The whole thing is anything of value. So just somebody giving you information is not considered anything of value. But if you pay for that information, you have now assigned it value. So, like, say when Trump said, "Oh, some guy, some British dude, or I think he said Norwegian guy, gives him some information," he doesn't think that's against the law. Well, he's right, because even Mueller had that problem. He's like, well, I don't think it's against the law just to get information. He goes, because the statute, the federal election statute says, if you receive anything of value from like a foreign actor, okay. Well, if you pay that guy for that information, you, Mrs. Clinton, have now just assigned that information value, even though we only paid him $10. is now worth $10. It now has value. You now have to disclose it, or you can't even take it. So, oh no, they're both criminal for sure. Anyway, calling number is 775-273-8970. Is it's up, top right corner. Well, that's pretty much all the stories I'm going to cover for tonight. I didn't see anything else breaking. I didn't see anybody else going to war with us or anything. So, yeah, that's pretty much about all I got for tonight. But I do want to thank everybody who was with us earlier, watching the speech and the great celebration of our armed forces and of our Independence Day. And if you want to see a big military parade in 10 days from now, that'll be Bastille Day in France, where they really do a big military parade. I mean, the tanks and everything else are driving down the street. It's like really, 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 really big. So check that out. But yeah, they always put on a really great show over there. I mean, the whole army comes out. But anyway, thanks to everybody who's been in the chat, and thanks for everybody for viewing. And for Carl's opinion, this is Carl. Everybody have a great night and continue to have a great rest of the 4th of July. Take care. Bye bye.